Hi, my name is Dominique Lohner. I'm a UNM student. I'm going to school for um, political science pre-law and a minor in Mandarin. And today I will be going over my last presentation for my public speaking class here. And I'm going to be discussing why the UNM Grand Challenge of Sustainable Water Resources deserves attention at the local, regional, national, and global level. Um, The scenario that one day it is a possibility to not have access to clean water and having drinking water that is unsafe due to depleting water resources regionally is a living nightmare. This is why preventing it and creating ways to preserve clean, healthy water should be at the top of the list in important global affairs. Due to water scarcity being an increasing threat from climate change, overuse, and outdated infrastructure, sustainability efforts demand solutions from New Mexico, the US, and globally. Every living thing on this planet requires water. Everything needs clean water, and there's a lot of living things on this planet. So finding ways to actually combat this problem is going to be um, very important in the coming years. It's already important now, but it's going to be more of a crisis if we don't start handling it the way that it should be handled. Um, we use clean water for agriculture, energy production, public health, biodiversity. Everything relies on it. And being a UNM student and a U.S. Navy veteran, I've been able to learn about water sustainability and the environment. And as well as being a Navy veteran, I've been able to go across the world and see places that are affected by climate change and water depletion, everything like that. This is why I think that this topic does truly need immediate attention. Um, and today I will be discussing how water depletion has affected New Mexico, the Southwest region, and globally, and the U.S. For New Mexico, we have declining groundwater issues with the aquifer. In the 90s, it was believed that the aquifer it was a vast, endless supply of water that we were able to rely on. And then between 1960 and 1990, we've actually seen an 150-foot drop in the aquifer system. So it is depleting. It is not getting renewed as quickly as people would think because we're also not experiencing like enough rain or snowpack, and that's also affecting our surface water, like the Rio Grande. The Rio Grande is our main water source in New Mexico that we use, and we rely on it heavily from snowpack for the Rio Grande to keep its levels keep the levels at the height that we want the river at. But we have seen they are predicting by 2050 that there is going to be a 30% to 60% decline in snowpack. So that means that we're not going to be seeing the river as full as we used to. And what that will affect is our living situation, how much water we're going to be able to use, how much excess water. We have to monitor that. But we're also going to see agriculture decline as well, because we do have main goods that are produced here, such as chili, pecans, and grain, and that also depends on irrigation. And then also with not enough water, not enough snowpack, and not enough rain, we'll experience more wildfires, which is going to affect us as well. We aren't alone, but the rest of the South region is also being affected as well. The Colorado River is one of the biggest crises right now. 40 million Americans rely on the Colorado River as a way of life, and the river has experienced a 20% decline since 2000. And this has been due to drought, over farming, and climate change. We're also seeing our infrastructure. Our infrastructure is causing a lot of issues in excess water usage. It's been known to be that we're seeing a lot of, just like because of the outdated infrastructure, a lot of water is actually leaking from that. So it's like leaking from the actual infrastructure. So we're losing, it's said to be about 6 billion gallons a day due to just outdated infrastructure. And This is also a huge national security risk as well because it will get worse with no solutions. And the US Department of Defense identifies water scarcity as a threat multiplier that drives conflict, migration, and instability. So the more we see water actually be depleted, it's going to be more tough for people to live, which is going to cause a lot of conflict all over the nation and all over the world. Globally, we're seeing massive water scarcity issues. And by 2025, it's predicted that over 1.8 billion people will live in regions with massive water scarcity, and that's from the United Nations Water. There are regions suffering more than others due to poor policy or no system for climate control or renewable resources. There are also massive economic consequences as well. The World Bank has reported a prediction of water shortages reducing the GDP by 6% in water-stressed regions. And the environmental consequences are much worse than the economic consequences because we're seeing biodiversity collapse, food insecurity, and we will eventually see deaths if this is not addressed. Massive rivers such as the Nile and the Yellow River are facing massive threats due to overuse as well. In conclusion, due to water scarcity being an increasing threat from climate change, overuse, and outdated infrastructure, sustainability efforts demand solutions for New Mexico and globally. Water sustainability must be addressed locally, nationally, and globally. To address this crisis, we must invest in modern water infrastructure, move towards local, national, and global policy that will protect and restore our water resources and expand conservation efforts. Do your part by limiting excess water usage and find ways to follow policy with water conservation in your own way. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation. I hope you all have a nice day.